We have a motion to come out of executive session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are now out of executive session. Can we do that? Okay. Okay. Okay, here we go. Proclamations and presentations, and we have one change to that. Sylvia. Presentations.
We're going to finish with it right now.
Right.
Unless you want to do it first, that would be fine.
We have,
Yeah,
we've been doing
You want
proclamations.
me to do proclamation first?
Yeah, let's do proclamations and then we do it earlier. Okay. So we have a proclamation. March, it's Red Cross Month. Ed?
Yes.
The
Sussex?
proclamation.
Yes.
The proclamation is down below.
I'll do it.
And I also enlarged the font for you to read easier. And myself, if I had to read it, to be honest with you.
Charlie
I don't
working.
even have to ask anymore.
Okay.
Come on up here.
You're not supposed to tell people that you have to.
I did it for myself and you were going to ask me to read, so.
You know, I just want to say something about the Red Cross. Well, a couple of things. My father always told me the story that when he was stationed in Europe, but when he came back to the United States, he didn't have money to get home. And it was the Red Cross that gave him money. I'm almost in tears when I think about this, because he would be in tears when he would tell the story. That they gave him the money to get on a train, to get himself home. He always spoke so highly of the Red Cross. And then when I was mayor in Hawthorne, we had to open up a regional center during Sandy. Were you there?
No, I was down in Tom's River.
Well, I'm telling you, it was our first time we never opened up a regional center. So we did the best we could. It took a couple of days before the Red Cross showed up. And when you showed up with food every night, hot food every night, when you came with a staff that was tremendous, well-trained, it changed everything for us. Because we had people sleeping in the gym, we had different rooms with children that were autistic, we had families that had hospital beds, and it was amazing what we did, but we could have never done it without you. And we learned so much about patience and organization and just how to work through that type of a challenging situation. And I just want to thank you for what you do. People have no idea, unless they're actually involved in an emergency situation, that you show up, how you take over, take command, and everything runs smoothly. So it's,
Until it happens to you, you never know, right?
no, you don't know
That's why
until
we
you're
all
involved. Right? You
volunteer.
just think, oh, the Red Cross. You don't realize what they do, and it's more than a job or a volunteer. I mean, you just have such a compassion for people, and it was such a learning experience for me, and I was honored to work with them. And we will never be able to repay them for what they did for our town and for the people and our residents. So I want you to know how greatly we appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate that. It makes it all worthwhile for us.
You do a tremendous job. So I'd like to read your proclamation. Whereas more than 137 years ago, the American Red Cross was established as a humanitarian organization guided by 7 fundamental principles, including humanity, impartiality, and independence, to provide services to those in need, regardless of race, religion, gender, sexual orientation, or citizenship status. Today, the American Red Cross is one of the largest humanitarian organizations in the world and delivers its mission every day to prevent and alleviate human suffering in the face of emergencies. Whereas every year, the American Red Cross responds to an average of more than 62,000 disasters across the country, from small home fires to devastating massive disasters. Last year's large crises include mudslides in California, a volcano in Hawaii, wildfires in Colorado and California, destructive hurricanes in Florida and the Carolinas, and a devastating typhoon in the U.S. territories. Thousands of American Red Cross volunteers provided around-the-clock shelter for disaster victims, served millions of meals and snacks with partners, and distributed millions of relief items. In New Jersey, the Red Cross has a long history of helping our neighbors in need. The Red Cross New Jersey region assisted with 902 local disasters in the past year alone and helped save lives through our Home Fire campaign. Since the campaign launched in October 2014, The New Jersey region has worked with community partners to install more than 31,761 smoke alarms. Meanwhile, in our area, the Red Cross handles an average of 5,100 emergency military calls every year and collects an average of 95,000 units of blood from our generous blood donors. March is Red Cross Month, a special time to recognize and thank the Red Cross volunteers and donors who give up their time and resources to help members of the community. The Red Cross depends on these local heroes to deliver help and hope during a disaster. We applaud our heroes here in New Jersey who give of themselves to assist their neighbors when they need a helping hand. The American Red Cross shelters, feeds, and provides emotional support to victims of disasters, supplies about 40% of the nation's blood, teaches skills that save lives, provides international humanitarian aid, and supports military members and their families. And whereas we dedicate the month of March to all those who support the American Red Cross mission to prevent and alleviate human suffering in the face of emergencies, our community depends on the American Red Cross, which relies on volunteers and the generosity of the public to perform its mission. Now therefore be it resolved that the Sussex County Board of Chosen Freeholders do proclaim March 2019 as Red Cross Month, and we encourage all Americans to support this organization and its noble humanitarian mission. By order of the Board of Chosen Freeholders, Freeholder Director Herb Yarby, Deputy Director Sylvia Patillo, and Directors Dawn Fantasia, Josh Hersberg, and George Graham. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for everything.
I learned one thing working with the Red Cross. There's something in it for everyone. And no matter where I go, I always put the word out. We're always looking for volunteers. If you don't know what to do, we'll find something for you because there's something for everybody.
I'd also like to say on behalf of the American Red Cross and the many volunteers up here in Sussex County, we'd like to thank you for this proclamation. I'd also like to thank the board for your many years of support. You guys have been instrumental in allowing us to fulfill our mission to the people of Sussex County, to provide our services to them at their time of need. So we thank you for this very much.
Thank you for everything. You really appreciate all you do.
Great. I think we have a photo.
We have a picture, of course.
Matter of fact,
Let me get in the middle. That's usually how this works. Let me get in here. Okay, give me this. I have to be handing it to somebody, right? Do I have to hand it to someone?
No, you get in here. That way.
We've got it.
One more. Thank you.
Good.
Now,
Thank
could
you
we
so
all
much.
hold?
Appreciate it.
Could you take another one or two with this one, please? Sure.
Thank you. Absolutely. Yeah.
Actually, it's taking a movie.
Should be on the photo. Oh, okay.
You'll have a short video.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Oh, there you go.
Exactly
It's
what
like-
you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay, this time I'd like to ask Rhonda Owanski to come up. She has a report from the Health Services Advisory Council. They had a meeting this morning at 9 a.m. Thank you for coming.
Sylvia, we have,
Well, let me just finish with that.
okay.
Good evening, everyone. I am an HSAC consumer advocate member of Rhonda Iwanski, submitting the following report from our HSAC committee meeting this morning, advisory council committee meeting this morning.
HSAC
Sussex-
stands for
Pardon?
What does H?
Human Services Advisory Council.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. The Sussex County Human Services Advisory Council held its second annual meeting of the year on February 27, 2019. In addition to regular business, a presentation was held focusing on the substance use treatment programs offered in Sussex County. Rachel Wallace from the Center for Prevention and Counseling, Nicholas Liozzi from the County of Sussex Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Community and Youth Services, Laura Lancioni, I apologize if I'm misspelling that last name, from Capital Care, all presented information regarding the topic. During the month of February, the HSAC and its various subcommittees continue to focus on planning and developing strategies that will allow for better allocation, provision, delivery, and financing of programs designed to meet the needs of human service recipients in Sussex County. The Homeless Coordination Committee continued to work on a strategy that will strengthen its mission of planning and coordinating the delivery of emergency housing services to the county's homeless population. The committee participated in the 2019 New Jersey Point in Time survey on January 23, 2019. This is an annual count of sheltered and unsheltered homeless individuals and families in Sussex County. Survey results will be available in the coming months. The committee will also be focusing on coordinating an appropriate referral process for homeless veterans to receive services from supportive services for veteran families during its March meeting. The Sussex County Human Services Advisory Council continues to recruit new members in order to maintain and bolster its ability to meet the needs of human service recipients in Sussex County. To do so, the Planning and Allocations Committee recently administered a satisfaction survey amongst its members and meeting attendees. The committee has used the results to make several changes to the meeting and its agenda. Furthermore, the survey identified underrepresented groups that the committee will be attempting to outreach throughout 2019. We would like to thank our Freeholder Liaison, Deputy Director Sylvia Patillo, Department of Health and Human Services Administrator Carol Navarrete, and the rest of the members of the Sussex County Board of Chosen Freeholders for their continued support. Thank you.
And I would just like to say that that advisory board, I mean, is filled with our own resources, our own staff, as well as so many other of those private sector vendors that we use. And when you have the opportunity to sit with, I don't know how many were there this morning, were there 30 people?
Yeah, 30 or 40 people
40
were there this
people, and
morning.
they're talking about all these different services, and you get to an idea of what this Human Services Department in the county is involved with, because these people that work in these different nonprofit organizations are the ones that help us make that pathway through for somebody in need. And it's amazing if you watch how our employees do that. And Christina's sitting right here because she does it all the time. You take that need and then you work through what we have in the county, and then you work with all these nonprofits, and you get all of the different issues that these people need resolved. And I just want to thank you for all that you do in that
Thank you
council.
so much, because as a consumer and learning about all of the nonprofit programs that our county offers, it's mind-boggling. And I think that I feel like one of our best achievements has been is to refine all of that into a searchable, an electronic searchable directory that's on your website and it's been sent out to municipalities. So,
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, because I've asked Carol, do you have the directory? Last year, when we did the forum on health and human services, we used this directory, and I gave everyone to the freeholders. They're out the door, they're on a table. If you want to take one, it has all of the services. You'll begin to understand what we're talking about, how overwhelming with all the different vendors that we partner with to make sure that every need that our residents have is taken care of. And the people that do this are wonderful. So you might want to take one home and just look through it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Thank you.
No. I'm sorry, Ms. Polanski? May I have a copy of your report, if you could present it to me, or send it to me by email? Well, that would be terrific, thank you.
Is that efficient?
That's fine, perfect, thank you.
It's nice seeing you.
Okay, we have to go through the proclamations, finish the proclamations. National Nutrition Month, is Kelly Pearson here?
There'll be no one attending
No
this
one?
evening, they had to cancel.
Okay. And the Chickachuwanska, did I say that correctly? Chapter of the American, National Society of Daughters of American Revolution.
I'm going to be taking that one with me. I'm going to their
Okay.
luncheon.
Number 4, let's see, we have Birth Haven.
That's all part of the.
The same thing, Birth Haven? Okay.
No, number 4 is an Eagle Scout.
Okay, Eagle Scout, and Sylvia will be attending that.
Yes.
Okay. Those are the proclamations. Now we have some presentations. We have Will Porter. And Will is a resolution that supports New Jersey Library to continue funding. I'd like to just say that anyone addressing the board, if you're going to use an acronym, please make sure that you say what it is so everybody in the audience knows what you're talking about, because you may know and we may not. Thank you.
That was particularly timely because librarians are notorious for acronyms. In this case, I think I'll be able to avoid it. I won't keep you long. I just wanted to give a brief overview of the resolution in support of what we're proposing here. And I want to start by thanking Terry Lyons for her help in getting this all together. The resolution is in support of what is called the New Jersey Library Network, and there is some currently pending legislation providing some funding for that, and that's what I'm here to sort of explicate for you guys a little bit, because it's the kind of thing that is both very valuable and doesn't make a ton of sense to people who don't work in libraries, and so. Just sort of as a brief overview, what the New Jersey Library Network does is it's a combination of services of the New Jersey State Library and a few nonprofit institutions, the primary one of which is called Library Link New Jersey. There's sort of a lengthy history of that. It used to be 6 organizations and then 4, then eventually was coalesced into one. Its funding has been flat for a very long time, and they reached sort of a crisis point last year that put in danger the delivery services that local libraries in New Jersey use to deliver materials between themselves. And at first glance, that doesn't seem like a particularly major thing, but what it is kind of a classic example of a shared service that, done at the state level, saves local governments a lot of money. And so, in the midst of that crisis, Bergen County, the library cooperative there, looked at replicating service just in their service area. And what they found was that just for their service area, it would be nearly $700,000 a year to do it. That is about half of what the state currently pays to cover the entire state. And so what this service does is it facilitates and then does the actual transportation for libraries like mine. I'm the director of the library here in Sussex County, for anyone who doesn't know that. If we don't have something in the collection and we've got a user who needs it, rather than buying another copy of it, potentially for just one person, or telling that person they'll have to do without it, or some other means sending them to go fetch it from somewhere else, we can request to have it sent from another library in the state at no cost to the local government. And the 400 plus libraries in the state rely on this to share resources. I like to say libraries have been sharing services since before it was cool. And so that is sort of what underlies this. So the resolution is fundamentally in support of continuing to recognize the importance of that and continuing to fund it because without it, the costs for the local libraries at each individual location could be catastrophic for budgeting purposes. And in terms of state money, it's a relatively small expense, but to replicate it on local scale would just be preposterous. The other piece of that is that I don't want to leave out because it is important is the Library Link New Jersey Cooperative that I mentioned is also a big provider of continuing education for library staff, which is both valuable in its own right and something we're required to do to continue to get state aid for libraries as well. And so that is consistently one of the most reliable sources of that as well. So that is what the resolution is in support of, and I won't keep any further. Thank you.
Okay, hold on.
Thank you.
So, do you have any questions?
No.
Josh? Go on. Thank you very much for coming. And what you are looking for is a resolution of those words?
Yeah, a resolution and in support of those services from the New Jersey Library.
And do you have a copy of something?
Yes, you all have a copy in front of you. We have it from Morris County.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Reverend Quinlan will be doing the presentation on human trafficking. Please sign in. Make sure you sign your names right there.
I'm Reverend Gregory Quinlan, and we're here to talk about the issue of human trafficking, which is a serious issue here in New Jersey. Some of you have heard this presentation before. This is going to be extremely abbreviated from what you heard the last time, but we're here to tell you about the issue. It is happening right here in Sussex County, it's happening right here in New Jersey, and it's happening to very young children that are being trafficked for sex in this state. So without further ado, I want to introduce my friend and colleague, Reverend Mandy Leverett, who is the head of CAN, another acronym, the Church and Community Abolition Network to abolish human trafficking. And that's what she's here to do, and then I'm going to talk a little bit later.
All right, just point. Do I need to point this way to get that to move, or how does this work? Oh, you.
I don't even know if it works, but you can try the projector.
Okay. So I would like to just bring your attention over to here. So, what if I told you that the greatest weapon we had to combat human trafficking is you? Would you believe me? I speak in your middle schools and I tell them this as well. Those aren't my words, those are the words of our former Attorney General and Senator Chiesa, and he was spot on. In fact, the greatest weapon we have to combat human trafficking is our citizens. I'm going to tell you about Shauna. Shauna was a 16-year-old girl. She met another 16-year-old girl in high school. In that meeting, she got to know her. The girl invited her over to her house for a sleepover. Her mom checked it out, everything looked okay. 48 hours. 48 hours is all it took for Shauna to be drugged, raped dozens of times, and sold states away online. That's all it takes for traffickers to get your kids and my kids. That is why we equip and empower community to do anti-trafficking, including prevention, detection, action, advocacy, and survivor care. We retrofit existing services to serve survivors, and where no services exist, we work collaboratively with best practice organizations to create those services. I don't know if you can see that over there.
Okay.
It's a beautiful location. A couple years ago, we collaborated with Hoving Home to open up a survivor home in Warren County. It serves all of New Jersey, including Sussex County. And a beautiful setting like this where we can do ag therapy, equine therapy, everything you can think of. They get over an 80% success rate for human trafficking, for females with opioid epidemic issues, all kinds of addiction issues. This resource is here now in New Jersey for us. Alluding to what you talked about earlier. So this is how we partner together. Because this issue it's hidden in plain sight. The problem is everywhere. Anyone can be a trafficker. Anyone can be a victim. And anyone can be a purchaser. If you follow us on social media, you'll see the recent articles. We had a former mayor of Mahwah that was a purchaser in a recent article. So we have a lot of different resources, but we have a lot of different issues in our state. So if you can see over here, it says, How I Met My Trafficker, New Jersey students 11 to 14. 83% of the victims of human trafficking in the United States today are our own citizens. And for most of them, it starts between the ages of 11 to 14. That's 5th grade to 9th grade. So if you want to talk prevention, we're talking about preventing this from 5th graders. So we do middle school trainings and up age-wise. We do professional trainings. Younger than middle school, we talk to parents and teachers. We had a meeting in a county school today. So we make our services available because of partners, people that help us financially. So we have speakers in every county, resources in every county. We assist with rescues and referrals nationwide. I'm just going to go over this because I know some of you can't see, but it says at the mall where I met my trafficker, foster parents, the public library, sleepover, coach, job fair, you name it. Traffickers get into all those common spaces where our kids are, including the digital world. This is an open door to all sorts of people. I could tell you story after story after story. But it takes all of us to work together. It takes us to partner to make a difference. We have information on the table outside. I want to tell you, though, about 2 ways we're going to work. We're asking you to help us protect our children. One way is we have the first ever statewide hotel outreach. We launched these hotel outreaches in New Jersey in 2009, 10 years ago. They have been responsible for rescuing missing children trafficked in our hotels ever since, in New Jersey and beyond, before big events like Super Bowl and just a regular Saturday on a regular day. Every time we do these events, and for those of you who can't see, we have the first ever statewide event happening on the Saturday before Father's Day, June 15th. We will be doing a simultaneous event. We will go to all 1,000 hotels and motels throughout the state of New Jersey, and we're going to help find and rescue area missing children by giving staff bars of soap labeled with the national hotline number to put in the room for self-rescue, packets of information and indicators, and posters with updated pictures of area missing children. Here's the one we used for the one in July, where 3 children were identified by hotel staff while our volunteers were there. This was done in the Lehigh Valley region, right before Music Fest. And then a month and a half later, the young lady in the middle on top was rescued. A law officer in South Jersey let me know about that, because though we were out of the bars of soap in the hotels, the posters were still there. So we empower you within your employment, within your community to make this kind of difference. We have students already helping prep the bars. It's a great way to get everybody involved to do something about this. The second thing we want to talk about, and it was on there, the Human Trafficking and Child Exploitation Prevention Act. If there is one thing that could prevent human trafficking, to diminish supply and demand, it is this particular legislation we're talking about. This legislation deals with not only the vast majority of pornography available today is what we call slave porn. That means the people in the images weren't free when they were taken. Not only that, but pornography creates the mindset that they've literally shown that it trains our brain to objectify other human beings. That causes all sorts of problems. Porn addiction raises the demand. And pornography is the #1 tool traffickers use to lure and groom our children, and pedophiles as well. So they go into all the digital spaces where our kids are, YouTube, everything, and they lure them with it's like bait. They just get them addicted, and that creates a greater situation. So this is something that it's a problem that has huge ramifications as far as prevention. Children 9 years old are being exposed. That's the typical age range now, digitally, and they're using it. They're penetrating our filters, family filters, and on our Chromebooks in our schools. They can penetrate those filters in school, and then when you take the Chromebooks at home to do homework, we don't have on our Wi-Fi, our typical home Wi-Fi, we don't have the kind of filters that they do at school, so it creates a gap. So our own students are in danger of being exposed to pornography that will lure and groom them away. And Greg Quinlan is from the Garden State family. He's going to talk about this. He's the expert in this particular piece of legislation.
On this legislation, we were the second state to introduce it. Your own state senator, Steve Oraho, is the primary sponsor and the first one to put this bill into motion, and that's S540. It is, when you deal with a whole lot of legislation, remembering these numbers is just impossible. Okay, and let me see if I can get it searched here. There we go. Maybe. Whatever. And then the Senate bill is S540. The Assembly bill is A878, just so you know. What I want you to see with these two images here on this slide, why it is so important. Every one of these people that were arrested right here in New Jersey. These are New Jersey perpetrators on your children, right here. This was at the one on the far left, Operation Safety Net, was done at the very end of the Christie administration. 69 people were arrested for possessing and distributing child pornography. I want you to understand that in order to possess it and distribute it, you first must produce it. So these children were being raped on camera, and then this was being distributed throughout New Jersey. And it was also being distributed in schools for kids to watch other kids being sexually raped. The second one was done at the beginning, this was just at the end of last year, and what was so interesting about this one is that these guys that were arrested trying to solicit sex from minor children using gaming apps. Fortnite was the big one. And here's what the state police department, the state police said to do. They said, parents, you should be very afraid. Very afraid. What the Human Trafficking and Child Exploitation Prevention Act seeks to do is to put a wall of separation between the perpetrators, the pornographers, and your children. Children, minor children, cannot consent. They cannot consent to performing pornography. They cannot consent to have sex with an adult. They cannot consent. But this is exactly what's happening. This bill is designed to do that, to protect our children from the perpetrators. It's the first bill of its kind that's been introduced. We now have it introduced in 35 states, and shock of shocks, if I can be a little bit political, and very liberal, very Democrat Hawaii, it was passed out of their lower chamber committee just a week and a half ago. So we're very excited that the bill is moving. States are introducing it. They see this as the way to do this. So we are looking to have it introduced. We have more than enough sponsors in both chambers to pass it. But we have an enemy and some legislators that are preventing us from getting it moved forward in committee. So if you have any more questions, there's one more thing we want to do and we want to tell you about. The only issue which divided the USA in the Civil War is the one issue that united our divided union today, and that's called slavery. Because what we're talking about with human trafficking is slavery, modern day slavery. We haven't eradicated it. Now it's not about race. It's about sex and sexual addiction. We can stop this. We can protect our children. And this is what this proposed resolution, which we're still putting together, will do, is to tell the legislators, and we're hoping that every county will do this. Sussex will be the first. Go Sussex. To get this done so that we can tell the legislators in every county we want this bill passed.
So this bill, what it does is it does the same thing that the Blinder Act does at 7-Eleven for pornography. If you want to purchase it, you just show proof of ID. This is the digital version of that. And tech is on our side for this legislation. A lot of anti-trafficking legislation, tech has not been on our side. But they want to help create industry standard filters that aren't weak, are strong enough to keep our kids out, and then also allowing people who want to use pornography to use it if they show proof of ID.
On our website at the Center for Garden State Families, there is, most of you know Ashton Kutcher. Did I say it right? I usually say his name wrong. Oh, that's a switch. Usually call him Butcher or something. But Ashton Kutcher, he's a genius. Apparently he's got some crazy astronomical IQ and he knows all this tech stuff. Works with an organization called Thorn. It's an intuitive program, which sounds a little scary, but it's a little sci-fi-ish, but it's an intuitive program that actually is able to track these sites, block these sites, preventing your children getting access to it. Now, the First Amendment argument. This does not take anybody's First Amendment right to view porn. You just have to prove that you're an adult for the blocking software to be removed so that you can view all the porn you want to view. But a minor, again, cannot consent. Therefore, a minor is not going to be able to do this. And if a minor is not seeing this stuff, then there's no access from the adult to get them through the tech. That's the idea, is to putting this wall up to protect your children. If you want more information on that, we've got a sign-up sheet outside so you can keep track of what's going on with the Human Trafficking Act here in the state of New Jersey.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions? I just want to say thanks for coming.
Could you just talk for a minute about that coin that you have?
Oh, sure, okay.
Just-
So this is, we have these rescue coins, and what they are is literally a penny with the stamped "Be Free," which is the national hotline text. We put this without a chain in the hands of victims who aren't ready to run yet. Why would they not be ready to run? Because sometimes the trafficker has their child. Sometimes the trafficker is also trafficking their friend, and if they run, bad things are gonna happen. Or sometimes they're addicted, and they're not, you have to be committed to your sobriety, because guess what? If you run and then you return to your trafficker, you're gonna be beaten half to death. So we put this in their hands so when they're ready, they can run. Just like the Underground Railroad of old, you had to get things in order before you ran. And we put this on our partner keychains and necklaces to say thank you to our monthly sponsors of any amount, because that's what gets us into your schools, that's what gets us nationwide to help build this ground game everywhere else. And then also help develop services right here in New Jersey and beyond. Best practice services, we're so fortunate. One of the reasons why we've been rescuing and referring people outside of the state for a long time to these exact same services, but a lot of our victims couldn't leave the state because of custody issues or parole issues. So we needed this service. We literally had one woman die on a waiting list to get to this service. So now we have it in New Jersey. It's amazing, and it's on a lot of our different, some of the nonprofits that were mentioned. It's part of those. So this is how all of us together can make a difference. We have information out at the table. If you want to become a monthly sponsor, if you want to help with the SOAP outreach, if you want to sign up and not just beyond this meeting today, but help your legislators, both state and federal, and bring this awareness to your communities, we want to connect with you to make that happen.
It's so you know, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's our intent, or my intent, to see that we have a resolution for our next meeting.
Great.
That the Freeholder Board will approve on this, and thank you very much.
You'll be the first one. Way to go.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. That's all for the next one. I didn't do that. Okay, good.
Thank you.
And we get flash drive?
Oh.
Okay, can we move on now? And public hearings, we have none. Public session from the floor.
Comments are limited to 5 minutes or less and must only address issues regarding agenda items. Please state your name, enter your name and address, municipality on the sign-in sheet, and please speak loud and clear.
There's a motion to open it for public comment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You guys have it. Anyone wish to address the Freeholder Board for items that are on the agenda? Okay, I'll take a motion to close the floor to the public comment and return to regular business.
So moved.
Second. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Yes, okay, we're good. Freeholder comments. Let's see. Sylvia?
Okay, I'm going to start with information from our Department of Health and Human Services. From February 1st to February 19th, there were 66 reportable disease investigations in Sussex County. Among those were the following: Lyme, 13, tick-borne bacteria, 5, babesiosis, which is another disease caused by ticks that affects the red blood cells, there were 2, parasitic disease, 1, bacterial infection of upper respiratory, 1, hepatitis C, 4, chronic hepatitis C, 2, the H1N1, which is the swine flu, 15, and influenza type A, 23. The H1N1 flu and influenza type A were the most frequently reported communicable diseases during this time, and statistically reported by municipality with the highest number of reported disease investigations from February 1st to February 19th were the following: Vernon Township, 13, Packham Borough, 9, Minton, 7, Sparta Township, 6, and all others reported 5 or less. There were also 12 domestic or wild bite exposure reports from animals that required follow-up investigation from those states. The animals involved were 9 dogs, 1 cat, 1 bat, and 1 pony. 2 animals were sent for testing. 1 animal tested negative and 1 result has not been received yet. No one received PEP, which is the drug treatment for rabies. The number of investigations per municipality is listed in the parenthesis after the municipality name. Okay, Byram had 1, Franklin 1, Frankfurt 3, Frieden 1, Hampton 1, Hardyston 1, Hapakon 1, Sparta 2, and Vernon 1. I also want to mention that we are still giving out the flu and pneumonia vaccine. The next clinic is Thursday, February 28th from 2 to 4 p.m. It's available for all ages and no appointment is needed. We're also having a mammogram clinic on Friday, March 8th from 9:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. We have a women's health screening clinic on Saturday, March 9th and Monday, March 11th. And we're having a health check adolescent adult health clinic on Tuesday, March 12th from 2 to 4 p.m. I think there's 2 more, yeah. And then we're having the AARP Smart Driver course. That's at Sussex County Community College. That's on Monday, March 25th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. This Smart Driver program manual is in completely new, easy-to-form format that incorporates adult learning principles. It features reader-friendly print types, full pages, and videos to supplement the course content. Participants will learn from state-specific information throughout the course in a way that is easy to access and understand. Adults age 50 plus are welcome to attend this class. And the last one is the Design a Pin contest for the 19th annual salute to military veterans. And every year Sussex County celebrates its veterans by holding a parade at Sussex County Fairgrounds in November. As part of this event, a patriotic pin design contest is held and the winning design is made into a pin. The pins are distributed to all veterans during this event. Sussex County students in the 6th, 7th, and 8th grades are encouraged to submit a pin design expressing their support and appreciation to the veterans of Sussex County. The deadline for submission of a pin design is June 7th. For further information, you can contact Lorraine Hentz at 973-579-0555, extension 1226. It's really exciting to go to that Veterans Day parade. It's a whole afternoon that's spent giving thanks and gratitude to our veterans, and then to have a beautiful pin, and everyone looks forward to the design on that pin, and every one of our veterans receives one of those pins. It's very important to them. It's important to the children that they understand the sacrifices made for their freedom, and it's just a wonderful afternoon. So I look forward to seeing what the design will be this year.
Thank you. Josh?
I do. You know, me and Don talked a lot last year when we were running about wanting to institute, you know, some kind of financial responsibility in the county. You know, that, you know, it hasn't been a secret the county's been in a bad financial, you know, shape for a long time. But until you see it in black and white, it's really hard to quantify that. And I think there's been a bad culture in government in general, where it seemed to be okay just to operate in debt and to continue to accumulate debt because you can always just make more money. And I think that's a bad culture that people have just accepted, and you know, and that's not it. You know, it's more that, and we see it in the state. They continue to spend money. Nobody wants to talk about the problem. No, especially no elected officials want to talk about the problem because nobody wants to be the bearer of bad news. They just want to kick the can down the road and get reelected until they go somewhere else. And when we saw, you know, especially when I saw the numbers, it was a little daunting, and you realize that the kind of hard work that's going to take to really right the ship. You know, there's a lot of theories on how we got here. You know, we weren't here. None of us were here when a lot of this started. But bad investments, capital improvements that were in need, things that just had to be done. And then before you know it, you find yourself under debt and you're just barely treading water. And I feel like that's where we're at now. We're barely treading water. And it's not a good position to be in, and it's not fair to the county residents, and you know, it's not fair to the employees. So what do you do? Where do you go from here? I think that we're at the point now where we know we're not putting enough money into our infrastructure, and that's going to continue to be a problem. We have to start righting the ship and making the hard decisions, doing the things that we need to do to fix it, because all this kind of stuff will build up and it will put us in worse shape, and at some point, where does it fall? It falls on the taxpayers. We take the responsibility to fix it, and we have to start now. I want to give a lot of credit to the staff in the county, because for years they've been asked to do more with less. Budget cuts, less people, do more work. And you see it all the time in government. And you don't notice it when you're out there because they put the work in and they do the hard work necessary to get there. And it's not fair to them, but if we're gonna fix it, they gotta be part of the solution too, and I think they know that. So, we come in here at the 11th hour and we have to make some hard decisions, and I just, I wanted to say that, I don't know exactly what's coming. We have meetings set to really talk about the budget, figure out what we're gonna do, but I know that I want to be part of fixing that culture. We've set up that meeting. There isn't anything we can do to change this overnight. This is the kind of financial changes that take years to realize, but what I can tell you is that the hard work and the culture change starts now, as far as I'm concerned. So I just wanted to say that, because having not seen the numbers until last week, I know we've got our work cut out for us.
Thank you. Go ahead, Bill.
Just a few updates, a little bit of news to share from the Sheriff's Department. Earlier this month, Sheriff's Corporal Law Enforcement Against Drugs LEAD. See how I did that? I said the acronym there.
Right.
The LEAD program. Mentor Edmund Galinsky was invited to represent the Sussex County Sheriff's Department during a recent meeting at the White House that was hosted by the nation's drug czar, Jim Carroll, who's the director of the President's Office of National Drug Control Policy, as well as Vice President of the United States, Mike Pence, and Special Advisor to the President, Kellyanne Conway. Corporal Galinsky was among an 18-member group of LEAD board members, management, and state representatives from Florida, New Hampshire, Tennessee, New Jersey. They were all in attendance. Corporal Galinsky is one of several sheriff's officers currently assigned as a LEAD instructor who teach the program to kindergarten through 8th grade students in schools right here in Sussex County. So if you're interested in the LEAD program, you could please visit their webpage, easy to remember, leaddrugs.org. By way of the update from the college, today we had the Board of School Estimate meeting. Prior to that, we had pre-meetings, one-on-one with the membership, with the leadership of the college. William Curcio, who's the board president, John Connolly, Mr. Gandhi, who is the vice president of finance. I went on a college tour, got my exercise in that day, didn't realize how big it is up on that hill. But I was really proud of what I saw there at the college. I also had the opportunity to tour the McGuire facility that has some of the new welding and automotive equipment. I got to see all the buildings there and walk the lots. And it was nice to actually see some of the upgrades and some of the plans they have in motion there for the college. So much more is coming, and please stay tuned. If anybody's interested in attending, I also wasn't aware of all the scholarships that are available. There's over 100 scholarships if you're interested in attending. So you can visit sussex.edu/scholarships, and you'll be able to search from over 100 different scholarships. So if you, anyone you know, friends, family are interested, please direct them to the college website. As far as library updates, I did something. I applied for my library card online, and I found out, lo and behold, I already have a library card from 2015 when I brought my daughter back in the day, but it's new and improved now because the amount of digital resources that are available to you are absolutely outstanding. I have moved away. I still have romance with the paper books. I have my Kindle now, and it's really amazing. You now have access with your library card to go into their databases, New York Times subscription, all different things that you can do online now with your library card, download audiobooks, and you can also renew your card online too, so it's very convenient. The Franklin branch got back to me right away and said, "Are you crazy? You have a card for the past 4 years." I said, that's how much I was actually in person there. But we also met with Will this Saturday. Josh and I were That's a whole nother thing that I'll talk about for a minute. But we were able to hear all the great things that are offered at the library. You know, it's not your grandma's library anymore. There is so much to do there. It's absolutely outstanding for all ages, you know, young to old. So I would suggest that anybody really look on their website and see the different programs that they're offering there. Also, something really interesting, at the library, they have what's called New Jersey Career Connections. It's a one-on-one job search assistant for job seekers. So there's a lady by the name of Julie Knapp. She's a library associate. You can get in touch with her, and you're actually able to receive assistance in job search for Sussex County residents. So I thought that was really great, too. So on Saturday, we had a long day that started at 7:30, hosted by Mr. Poff, and we had El Piñater here, and then just a litany. Every 30 minutes we didn't stop. From 7:30 to 3, every 30 minutes was a new department head coming in, and they let us fire every question we possibly had, and they, you know, they shared a lot of information with us. And because that was so great, the 2 hours following that, we had our first finance meeting. You know, Josh and I together, I'm sorry, no, Herb and I,
Right.
Josh had his prior. So Saturday was jam-packed with a lot of information from a lot of different departments, but it really, I think, positioned us as newcomers to the board.
Wait a minute, you're telling me Freeholders actually did work on a Saturday?
Can you believe it?
I-
It's a true story.
For the
All
record,
day, all day, for
I
the
didn't
record,
want
write
to.
it down.
But I did.
But, you know, being freshmen, you know, to the board, to be able to have that available to us, to be that flexible, the fact that that many county employees were able to come in 30-minute increments on a Saturday absolutely blew me away. And it was really wonderful to be able to put faces to names to people who we've been emailing and speaking to for the past month and a half, but not really seeing. It was an excellent experience. And again, as Josh pointed out about the budget, I don't want to make it sound like it's doom and gloom, but it was sobering, and it was a reality check, and it kind of got us all in the right mindset and kind of got us caught up to speed with our peers here on the board to kind of figure out, you know, a strategic plan and lay out with the help of our professionals how we're going to get from point A to point B. But it was a very, very productive weekend, and we appreciate the time of all of the department heads, and Greg and Terry, thank you for helping orchestrate, you know, for the day. It was really helpful. And that's what I got. Thank you.
Just on the same note, Saturday, I was with Dawn for the budget presentation. And, having sat this year on the budget prep, there are a lot of things that we are dealing with, and we are methodically dealing with it and having good conversations. There have been some complaints that we're not moving fast enough, and it is the desire of this board to do things properly and get things done correctly. So we are moving through the budget, carefully thinking, and there are many different options that each board member has brought. Sylvia has brought some ideas, and Dawn and Josh. I think the group here is doing very well, and I think we'll have a good budget. Especially our administrator has been working very, very hard. I want to give you some credit.
Thank you.
He does a good job, and he does have the weight, a lot of weight on his shoulders. I just would like everyone to know that the selection board for the college has met, and they are in the process of reviewing those people that have asked to be members of the board. They will go through that process and come up with those members they would put before the Freeholder board, and they're working not with, but it is our administrators board. The VOTEC, I met with the VOTEC. The VOTEC, as you know, there is a grant for the VOTEC, 75-25 for the county pays 25% versus 70. They are coming up and working on some projects. There the limit of time and the limit of money, upload of money, but they will be making that all of that information available. And they will be coming before the board to do a presentation either on that or some other issue in the future. I also went to the economic development meeting that the chamber puts on, and Hal Wirtz was the speaker. And you can go on YouTube and see how he's become, Hal Wirtz, our assemblyman, he's become pretty big star of YouTube because of, I guess, his passion.
Are you saying he's trending?
He's trending. He is trending. And from the rain tax, which is a potential tax if you have a paved driveway or you have a shopping center, and so there's potentially some new tax that towns and counties can, no, counties cannot, but towns and municipalities can. Did I get that right? Counties can? Okay. So, really? Oh, we're gonna have to, no. But it's one of those things that his concern is we are just taxing ourselves away. He also talked about the minimum wage and the impact, and I'm not going to talk about that. That is available online and what the potential impact is to the state and small businesses in the county. That's about it. That's all I have to say. So.
Can I just add something to the minimum wage thing? I know Hal had a counter proposal that was going to help small businesses. And I can personally say I've talked to at least 3 small business owners who are extremely concerned, some even saying that they expect to potentially close in the next couple of years because of this. So I think you end up hurting the people you're trying to help, the people that need the jobs the most, and just not having jobs rather than getting better paying jobs. And I'm certainly concerned for our small business community.
Okay. Okay, let's move on. So consent agenda?
The Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Sussex has reviewed the consent agenda consisting of various proposed resolutions and determined that adoption of the said resolutions is in and will further the public interest. If any freeholder would like to remove an item to be considered separately, please do so now.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? Roll call?
Freeholder Fantasia?
Yes.
Freeholder Hertzberg?
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Yardley?
Yes. Approval of minutes. Motion to approve minutes of regular minutes of February 13th, 2019. Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion to approve the minutes of the executive session February 13th, 2019.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the minutes of February 19th, 2019. Special meeting minutes. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
And I recuse myself. I was not there.
Okay. So we have an abstention. Appointments and/or resignations.
Appointment of Bernard Kokoczki as the alternate member, electrical subcode official for the Sussex County Uniform Construction Code Board of Appeals, term to begin immediately and expire December 31st, 2021.
Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 14.
Governing body certification of compliance with the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission's EEOC enforcement guidance on the consideration of arrest and conviction records in employment decisions under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964.
Motion to adopt the resolution.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah. Opposed? Ayes have it. Awards of contracts and/or change orders and bids.
The Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Sussex has reviewed award of contracts, change orders, bids consisting of various proposed resolutions and determined that adoption of the said resolutions is in and will further the public interest. If any freeholder would like to remove an item to be considered separately, please do so now.
A motion to adopt contracts A to J.
So moved.
Second. Discussion. Roll call.
Freeholder Fantasia?
Yes.
Freeholder Hertzberg?
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Yardley?
Yes. Okay, financial. Resolution, payment of bills, freeholder Patillo is abstaining, February 27th, 2019. Do I have a motion for the list A?
Motion.
Second?
Discussion, roll call.
Freeholder Fantasia?
Yes.
Freeholder Hertzberg?
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo?
Abstain.
Freeholder Director Yardley?
Yes. Payments of bill list B, February 27, 2019. Motion to approve bill list B.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion, roll call.
Freeholder Fantasia?
Yes.
Freeholder Hertzberg?
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Yardley?
Yes.
Resolution C, authorizing submission of the Public Library Statistical Report for 2018 by the Sussex County Division of Library Services.
So moved.
A second,
Second?
roll call.
Freeholder Fantasia?
Yes.
Freeholder Hertzberg?
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Yardley?
Yes. Introduction for the first reading, resolution.
A resolution authorizing cap to limit county budget appropriation increase in calendar year 2019 county budget to 3.5% over the previous year's final appropriation, subject to certain exceptions, and to establish an appropriation cap bank.
Motion to adopt this resolution on first reading.
So moved.
Second. I'll second it. Discussion.
Yes. Greg, would you be able to explain to the public the purpose of this?
I'll be happy to. I'll try to keep it brief. If you require more, just let me know and I'll be happy to oblige. This ordinance allows for the cap bank, which provides flexibility for appropriations in case of emergencies, unforeseen expenses, or increased costs beyond the control of the county. For example, if pension expenses increase by 7%, the amount to be paid for the care of psychiatric patients in state hospitals might increase by 20%, and health insurance premiums may increase by 10% all in the same year. By having the cap bank, which this legislation authorizes, the budget then is able to accommodate all of these increases within the statutory tax levy cap and appropriations cap without having to cut services in other areas. The cap bank is not intended to replace good fiscal practice or planning, but allows the county to be able to meet budgetary increases when needed.
It's an emergency, is that correct?
It's part of a financial planning tool that the county, it is recommended that the county avail itself of. Previously, before the budget law was amended, cap banking was provided for in an automatic fashion. When the state made the implemented the tax levy cap a number of years ago, they eliminated the automatic cap banking. And so in order for the board to be able to take advantage of this financial planning tool, it requires this resolution be considered.
Thank you. Any other questions? Motion to adopt this resolution on first reading. Roll call.
Freeholder Fantasia?
Yes.
Freeholder Hertzberg?
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Yardley?
Yes.
Motion to authorize the clerk to advertise this resolution as introduced for first reading and also post same on the bulletin board in the lobby of the County Administrative Center, together with a notice of public hearing stating that a hearing will be held on March 27, 2019 at 7 p.m. prior to final adoption of this resolution.
Motion to post.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Personnel, authorizing personnel agenda of February 27, 2019. A motion to adopt the personnel agenda.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion.
Freeholder Director, I'll just mention that the change in title and increase in hours for the librarian 3 is as a result of 3 rounds of advertising that have yielded no viable candidates. The librarian 3 promotion is an increase based upon the staff members obtaining a graduate degree and professional certification. And lastly, the promotion in the Division of Social Services to Human Services Specialist 2 is to allow for the appropriate position to be put in place as an interviewer and processor to address the increased case volume within the Division of Social Services.
Is this a new position?
No.
This is a replacement?
It's an upgrade.
It's an upgrade. Okay, any other questions? Okay, motion to adopt personnel agendas?
We've had the adoption, the motion was
Oh,
tendered
was,
by.
okay, sorry.
Yes, we're at roll call.
Roll call.
Freeholder Fantasia,
Yes.
Freeholder Hertzberg.
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo.
Yes.
Freeholder Director Yardley.
Yes. Administrator's report?
Sorry, but this evening's going to be a retread because you all took my thunder. I am pleased to report that the trustee search committee met earlier this week to consider more than 20 applications for those interested in serving on the College Board of Trustees. The committee has developed a good working plan, and over the next several weeks, I anticipate this will lead to the submission of names to the board for your advice and consent. Secondly, as was mentioned, the budget work session will be scheduled for next Wednesday, March 6th, to begin at 5:30 p.m. I look forward to reviewing the budget with the board and the public, and have also invited the department administrators to be on hand to address any questions that might be raised. Thank you very much.
That was on the 5th?
6th, Wednesday the 6th.
I just had a question. At our last freeholder meeting, we were asked council to let us know whether we could just do our towns, assignment of the towns. Have you gotten anything back from council?
Yes, unfortunately, council's under the weather. He had asked the two outstanding items concerning both the municipal liaisons as well as the request for correspondence to the state to change the name of the Soil Conservation District. He'd asked that those matters just be carried so that he can provide you a response once he's back.
Does he know he's not supposed to get sick?
I'll make mention of that to him when I see him next.
You'll advise him, okay?
Yes.
All right, thank you. So we don't have a county council report, but we do have a different county council.
There is a report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Unfinished business, do we have any? I think that was it. New business? Yeah. Public session from the floor.
Everyone is asked to keep their comments to 5 minutes. Please state your name and print your name and municipality on the sign-in sheet, and please speak loud and clear.
Okay. Motion to open it the floor to the public, second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The public is invited to come up and speak to us if anybody would like to. Please state your name and fill out.
For purposes of this, I'll just go off of what my uniform says, which is PVOB. I'll get to that in a minute. Just a safety, security concern I have. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Been employed by the county for almost 9 years. Currently work over with the Sheriff's Department, Bureau of Corrections, which is why I said for safety and security reasons, I'll go with PVOB. That's what it says on my uniform. Here today because my constituents and I, a few of who are here tonight, have been hearing some chatter that there are some tough decisions that may be coming regarding the jail. We've been trying to get some answers. Nobody seems to be giving us any. I know you guys brought up that there are tough decisions coming. Being that the budget is due to be coming out, decisions need to be made, and really we just want an opportunity to be part of the discussion and taking a proactive approach versus reactive. Our concern, the biggest concern is we have law enforcement agencies throughout the state giving us a call, wondering when we're going to close, or when the doors are going to be shut, when inmates are going to be transferred. And like I said, we've been trying on a departmental level to get some type of answers, but haven't received any. So we're coming to you today in order to hopefully get some type of answer one way or the other. And depending upon how that answer goes, if we can at least have the opportunity to speak to you guys, whether that be publicly or privately, and discuss our side of the argument, as there are, it's a multifaceted argument, as I'm sure you guys are aware. If you guys can give any input, that'd be great. If you want to speak to me after tonight's meeting and we can arrange for a time, I'd appreciate that as well. But any information that you can give would be appreciated at this point.
Thank you. Greg?
Yes, as Officer Leope's indicated, he and some members of the union are here. I've been working on contract negotiations with them for the better part of 2 years. I would suggest that, as he's indicated, it's appropriate, as they are covered under the sheriff's office, that his questions be directed to the sheriff. Absent that, I can certainly make myself available. I know we have a negotiation session tomorrow, and I would be happy to address Officer Leobe's concerns at that time.
Is there any way to get a private forum with the Freeholder Board?
The Freeholder Board does not meet privately. The business is conducted publicly, as it is here. If you have a specific request, I'd ask that you put the request into writing, and your request, as all the others that you've submitted, will be given due consideration, and I'll ensure that you get an answer.
Well, respectfully, it's the process involved with filing a request and getting a response tends to yield a result where an action already has taken place. And like I said, we're trying to avoid some type of action already taking place, or may or may not have occurred, in order to be able to have some type of voice in any type of determination.
And I'll just say that nothing I said was insinuating anything about the jail. It's not involved in our budget or anything like that. So I don't want to give you the wrong idea that I was insinuating something. I was not.
But to your comment, you also mentioned things need to happen that need to be fair to both the taxpayers and also the employees. And we're not looking for things for we're not shooting for the moon. We understand that there's certain considerations, but like I said, we're just trying to be part of the equation and not be left out. That's all.
Greg, we'll get back to you. Thank you.
All right.
Anyone else wish to address the Freeholder Board? Please step forward.
Hi, I'm Becky Carlson with the Center for Prevention and Counseling, and I also live in Andover Township. And first, I just want to say thank you. Hard to talk, all right? Thank you for the authorization of the Chapter 51 funding that was given tonight. We are very grateful for that funding. We utilize that funding before the end of the year because the need is great. But so many times we're talking about the addiction crisis we're facing. We hear so much bad news, but there is a lot of good news. And I brought a picture I wanted to share with you. And I'll give it to you and bring it down because I think it's more powerful when you see the face. This is a young woman that 8 months ago landed in the hospital due to her addiction. She actually was incarcerated, but in 8 months' time, with recovery supports and the treatment, she is, you'll see from that picture, doing well and strong in her recovery, and actually working to get her child back. And that is through the help that we get with our Chapter 51 treatment dollars, recovery support dollars, and also through the CLEAR program, which raise your hand if you've heard of CLEAR. Hopefully everybody has, and that's Community Law Enforcement Addiction Recovery. We just had our quarterly meeting yesterday, and in 2.5 years, we've really, made a difference in the county with the number of people we're serving. And I'll send you this, PowerPoint tomorrow just to give you a better look at some of the numbers. But to let you know, in the 2.5 years since we've been active in the community, more than 300 people have contacted the CLEAR toll-free number. And through CLEAR and also ORP, which is Opioid Overdose Recovery Program, that is the grant that we got, our agency, every county has it, where we have recovery coaches on call 24/7. They go up to the hospital, not just when people are overdosing or revived, but also anytime anybody is in the hospital with any kind of substance use disorder. And we have met with 549 people that have been connected to recovery coaches, and along with 62 people who have entered the police department through CLEAR, asking for help. And 78 people have actually been assisted with getting into treatment. And another additional 25 people have met with recovery coaches up at Key and Dwyer, because our recovery coaches through work are able to go up into the Key and Dwyer and meet with people. So if anybody requests meeting with a recovery coach through the work program and the work funding, we're able to send coaches up there to meet with them. We even have some coaches, when they know somebody's getting out, are standing there waiting for them and walking them over to our agency, because we have the new medication assisted treatment grant and the IRI grant, integrated recovery innovations, where we're working directly with people to have them access help. So Chapter 51 dollars through treatment, through recovery supports help us in so many ways, and we truly appreciate that. And anybody wants to know more about CLEAR, I can put them on the link. I know Sylvia was going to be there tomorrow if something got on the way, but
I was driving there, actually.
To attend the meetings. We had about 40 people attend yesterday, including one woman that in November 2017 walked into the Newton PD, actually met with the police, asked for help through CLEAR. She was matched up with a coach. She was gotten into treatment within 3 days, and through now she has, this is a little over a year, she's got custody of her child. She's got an apartment here in Newton through another 5-year grant that DCP&P and PSS have to help people with housing. So she's looking for a job. She just signed up to be a recovery coach through CLEAR, and will be training next month in our next training. So recovery does happen, and it does work. And you know, again, those dollars that you give us are a part of this, so helping us towards that solution. So I just want to thank you.
Thank you for all you do.
Becky, thank you for all the work you guys do over there.
You're welcome.
Anyone else wish to address the Freeholders? Seeing none, motion to close the open session. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Reminders, meeting reminders. Senior Advisory Services, Village Cafe at Knoll Heights. Gone to that several times, a great group of people. Disability Services at noontime on 3/11 here. And then 3/13 at 7 p.m. we have a Freeholder meeting. And 3/14 Uniform Construction Code meeting at 1 p.m. here. So do you have a motion for adjournment?
So moved. Second.
We're adjourned. All in favor?